here to talk about the Ultimate World Cruise. Hi, Veggie Burger. Hi, Rita. Hi, Jay Rigswam. Good to see you all here. Hi, Patsy. Is this one gone? We're good there?
The live chat, it's not showing.
There's nobody on that. Okay, so we're good.
I thought it was still be showing. Oh, okay. Well,
That's
it's
it.
connected.
Steve and I are doing an Ask Us Anything. So we are currently on the Ultimate World Cruise. We just left, well, yesterday we left Reunion Island and we are heading to Port Elizabeth. And things are going really well so far. Hi, Nikki. Hi, Deb. Hi, Shira. Hi, Deb. You might need to turn the volume down on that. Anyway, it's good to see everyone here. We have not done a live stream in, gosh, about a month. It's just been that crazy busy. So it's really good to see everybody. We weren't able to schedule this one either. Because
Sorry, still trying to get that one set up.
yeah, that's...
Give me a second.
Hi, Jessica. Hi, Anita. Hi, Janae. Hi, Skip. So if any of you guys have any questions for us about the cruise or about us, feel free to type them out. We'll try to get to everybody's questions. Hi, Gail. Hi, Moki. Hi, Patty and Bentley. Hi, Nada Flacca. Hi, Tika Girl. So we started, hey, Kelly. Good to see you.
Hey, Kelly.
So we're going to go back and kind of talk about all of... This is a really weird view. We're going to talk about how we heard about the cruise. We're talking about the Ultimate World Cruise, and you can ask us anything. I'm just going to go ahead and start talking because I don't have any questions to answer yet, but I will stop talking to answer anything that you guys have coming up. So basically, in early to mid 2022, I saw an advertisement. Well, not even really an advertisement. I think somebody had posted a story about the Ultimate World Cruise. I looked it up. I really wanted to go to it. I was working in Guam at the time, and it was unlikely I was going to be able to go. We both really wanted to, but Steve thought it was going to be too expensive, and we couldn't afford it.
That, and I was still looking at, I needed, to work a little bit more and put some money back in those holes in my account.
True.
So, same money.
So when I was working in Guam, Steve was coming over to join me, and he had just finished a project in Nebraska, right? So we had kind of, we had talked just before he came over, we were going to be on the retire in 5 years plan. I was in a very fortunate situation in that the company that I was working for was covering all of my living expenses. And so we could have pretty much banked almost 100% of my paycheck. So how much did y'all save before committing to going on the cruise? So by the time we actually decided we were going to do it, we had only a month or two to pay for it in order to get the 10% discount for full payment. Royal Caribbean offered that if you paid basically a year in advance, then they gave you a discount. And so this being so expensive, I clearly wanted to take care of that. So we didn't actually save for this. What we did was dig into our retirement savings.
Mine wasn't retirement because neither one of those. I have a Roth and a traditional IRA. I didn't pull anything out of those, but there was another investment account I was using that I pulled from.
Right. And mine weren't in retirement accounts per se, but it was still retirement funding. So that's how we financed it, basically borrowing from our future. So we had started talking about it. We were going to do the 5-year plan. And so even though we had heard about the cruise and really wanted to do it, we weren't sure if we were going to be able to, just from a work situation and an expense situation. And then, so in August of 2022, that's when Steve came.
I had finished my project that I'd been working on, my portion of it. And then I came to Guam because in May of that year, I had gone to Guam to visit Leah, but also it was like 3 weeks, and I went through and tried to make some contacts and try to do a little networking.
To find a job there.
Yeah. And so when I did come back, I flew in on August the 3rd. And August the 4th was a work day, so Leah went on to work, and I had went to the post office. I was trying to set up a P.O. box at the post office that was close by, and it was only like a mile away. So I was doing my normal. I was going
He walked.
to do a walk, and I was feeling a little odd at that point. I thought heartburn, common misconception that a lot of people have about it. It's really, I made it to the post office and wasn't able to get the P.O. box. There was some glitch or whatever. But anyway, I started walking back, and I didn't make it very far. I had to sit down. My chest was hurting really bad. And, of course, I was denying what I knew it really was. But finally came to that point, I called Leah. And she was at work. I didn't want to,
Sorry.
my foot.
I stepped on his foot.
And said, yeah, I think you need to take me to the hospital. And she, of course, goes into overdrive mode. And I'd gotten a taxi. From that point, I got a taxi back to the hotel apartment that she was staying in. And got a little cleaned up because I was, it's Guam, humid. Plus, having a heart attack, you sweat a lot. But I couldn't tell I had a heart attack just by sweat because I was already sweating profusely. And but anyway, one good thing about me being retired from the military, medically retired, I still had access to medical care. So.
And one part of one of my projects was on the naval base.
Yeah.
So so I was there all the time. I'd already gotten all the badges and clearance or whatever to take me and my vehicle there. Hi Wilton Brewer. Hi Beth. Hi Mick. Hi Shirley.
Yep.
Hi Marie. So I rushed him
to
the Naval Hospital.
And as she drops me off by the emergency room exit, she was going to go park the truck. She said, are you sure they're going to take you in? I said, I'm a 58-year-old man with chest pains. They're going to take me in. Not to mention being retired.
And they did.
They did. And I was the only person in the emergency room. So
we got really lucky. Literally, there was no one there.
I had at least 2 doctors and 4 nurses.
Waiting to be seen or behind.
And, of course, they hooked the EKG machine up, and it wasn't showing anything. So then they started tracking, I can't remember which enzyme it is in the bloodstream. When the heart gets under stress like that, there's enzymes that are kicked off, and so they track those enzymes in your bloodstream for a period of time. They got, I think, at least 3 times they got to check it.
Yeah,
they want to see
plotting a curve.
Yeah,
basically, if it's going up or if it's coming down.
Yeah, the progression of it, and that's how they determined I had a heart attack, and that's what they call an NSTEMI.
Right.
I don't know what the letters stand for, but anyway. What?
I was just going to shorten the story a little bit.
Okay.
Because
okay. You want me to talk about it? I'll talk about it.
Anyway, so after that, so because Steve and I were, Guam is a perfect example of this. The military system, there's some decent health care, but the island itself does not have a cardiologist, any cardiologist that does preventive or in what do they call it, invasive?
Yes, invasive.
Or
invasive.
What? Anyway, they have 2 cardiologists on the island that has 100,000 people, but they don't do
intervention.
Intervention. That's the word we were looking for. They don't do intervention care. So, and sometimes the military hospitals do. It depends on who they have stationed there at any given time.
Yeah.
It just so happened they didn't when Steve had his event, but. The picture I'm trying to paint here is that we often work in places that don't have
full medical
full medical care. So he was kind of forced into retirement at that point because
could no longer work in the austere conditions, remote austere conditions.
Right.
So that was all over at that point anyway. But they stabilized me. It took them about 7 days to line up a medevac to take me to Hawaii to Triple Army Hospital. And finally got there, and we saw the doc, and they took me in right then and put a stent in.
Literally, the first morning we were there.
Yeah.
So that was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So then it became wow, if we couldn't afford it before, now that we're only on one income, we really can't afford this. And so we went through this thing. They told us that we'd be able to get care in Guam, that they could coordinate between Tripler in Hawaii and the Guam folks. And then when we got back to Guam, we tried to set that up and found out that was in fact not the case. They
didn't have space available.
They didn't have space available. They weren't going to do it. So now I'm in a position where I'm going to have to leave my job. So I was very lucky because I actually did turn in a resignation, and my boss, who's kind of a friend, I've known each other for 20 years almost. and I'd worked with him in a couple of different locations. And so when I gave my resignation, he just kind of ignored it. And then, when it came closer to the time we needed to go, I had a conversation with him. He was back in he was in Alaska at the time, so quite the time difference. Anyway, when we had a conversation about it, he said, well, maybe you don't need to quit. Maybe you can work from home. So we tried that. It ended up working out okay. I had a good rapport with the government folks that were in charge of the project I was working on, and of course with the team that was doing all the work from our side. So that went really well. Hi, LaShawn from Michigan.
Yeah, great to have you here.
Hi, Billy. Hi, I'll just say hi to I am Pink Rose and Jeremy, Carissa, Mel. Hi, everyone. Glad you could join us.
Yeah.
Concy, Mel. Looks like Mel's going in and out. Anyway, good to have you all here. Steve and I are talking about how we ended up doing the Ultimate World Cruise. Yeah. So we had, we went back home to Texas.
I don't know what those initials stand. Yeah, KD. That's probably going to be it. Glad you're on.
So we get set up. We're back in Texas, and the project was supposed to be done by, I think, even at the last, I figured it'd be done by May. So I was really looking forward to having some downtime to fix all this. And then Guam got hit with a really bad hurricane, one of the worst. Yeah. Like power was down for 2 or 3 weeks in some places. Some people, it was out just a week. But several of the buildings that we were working on were damaged, and we couldn't get into them because they were, roofs destroyed, and the government hadn't figured out what they were going to fix first. And of course, it takes a long time for those contracts to get in place anyway. Anyway, I'm ignoring that. Yeah, it took a long time to get all of this stuff sorted out. We weren't even allowed back into most of the buildings for about, I want to say 2 or 3 weeks. So because we'd had that huge break, it ended up pushing the completion of the project out to, I think it was September or October when we finally finished. But we were close enough. Sounds like Houston, I stay in Conroe. So this was actually a project in Guam, but yeah, they have issues with harsh weather there too.
Yep.
So, so I ended up working way longer than I expected, and it kind of turned out okay because I was able to earn enough to pay for a lot of the excursions that we were going to do. Because by then we had paid for the trip, just not was that 2020? No, it was 2023. Yeah. So, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, 2023 we started talking, well, no.
Because your heart attack was August of 2022. So through the whole Christmas and everything. So 2023. So yeah, that's how, Steve kind of got forced into a retirement. I chose to. We had, we'd still put some money away. We went through some stuff with our financial advisors and looked at the situation and said, yeah, I think we can do this. So, so we paid for it and spent the next 9 months or so planning everything out. We did, and neither one of us actually had cruised with Royal Caribbean before. I had done one cruise before, and you had done 2, but
different cruise lines.
Different cruise lines and decades before. So we hadn't. Okay, so I don't want to interrupt your story, but I have a question. Do you think you will go through cruise withdrawal when this is done? Yes.
Yeah, probably so. After being on it for 9 months, it's become our daily lives of being on the ship.
We've gotten very spoiled on this ship.
Yeah. Someone's always cooking for
us.
Hi,
Ask Boo. Hi, Chloe. Hi, Kathy. Hi, Patsy.
It's definitely an event that you get spoiled on.
Yeah, definitely.
But we do have the crew is fantastic. They do a fantastic job on this ship, and also the other passengers. We've met a lot of good people.
Oh, definitely lifelong friends here.
So yeah, it's been fun. Just the added part of going to see different places has been fun too.
So back to the original story. Games played poorly. This is my honest take. My wife and I like Carnival over Carnival. I get that. I mean, everybody has their preference,
Yeah.
and I totally
Yeah.
get that.
Yeah.
This just, Carnival isn't doing a 9-month world cruise, so that's why we're on Royal Caribbean.
Yep.
So I can't remember where I found out about this. It might have been I think some information came from either Royal Caribbean or our travel agent about the Platinum tours. So there were the 7 wonders of the New World. So Royal Caribbean was offering for everybody who's doing the full world cruise,
Yep.
free, included in the price of the ticket, excursions to those 7 world wonders. And when I looked at the price of them, without that, I was like, we needed to get to platinum status. So I took a short vacation, and we did 3 5-day back-to-backs in a junior suite in order to make the 30 points that we needed to get to platinum. And the money that we spent doing those cruises was actually, it was an investment in the other excursions, because doing those 7 excursions and paying for them out of pocket would have been 2 or 3 times what we paid for those other cruises.
Yeah.
Plus, it gave us a chance to do kind of a dry run, because even though we've lived in some really small places, and like we mentioned earlier, in austere conditions, we'd not ever cruised together before, and we weren't sure how we were going to like that. So it's turned out okay, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it started.
But yeah, it gave us a chance to do a test run of how we were going to be cruising together. We made a lot of friends on those 3 cruises too.
We did.
And then, so we started off with a pretty good idea of how it was going to be, and that we were going to be fine.
Yep. And
hi Rhonda, hi Mary, hi Tricia, hi Lovely, hi Star Lily.
KD. By the time we finish this, we're going to have a whole lot of points within the Crown and Anchor Society, which is in their loyalty club. And
exactly.
The top one's Pinnacle, and that one is
700.
700 even. By the time we finish this, we should be at, what was it, 6?
No, not even close to that.
We're going to be close to it.
It'll be around 400.
Oh, 400, that's right.
Yeah. So, y'all are on the ship for 9 months. Yes, we are on the ship for 9 months.
Yeah. We started in December out of Miami, and
Hi,
then
Beth.
we finish in September of this year back in Miami.
Hi, guys. Hi, Beth. Hey, Beth, do you have any questions for us, or do you want to join the live at all? If you do, just let me know. I'll add you. Anyway, where was I at? Yes, we're doing good on the cruise. It's been, we are absolutely getting spoiled. It is definitely a 10 out of 10. Would do this again. No, Beth says she's just in the car. Okay, I won't. Pay attention to the car stuff. But it's good to see you, Beth, and it's good to be back doing lives. So we're gonna be Diamond. Well, we are Diamond Plus now. So, and we're gonna be Diamond Plus when we get back. And so, kind of like with cruise lines, it's kind of the same as with an airline. So this is a joke I tell. You know what the best airline on the planet is? It's the first one you get status with, because that's where you start getting treated a little better and differently. Yep. Have the rough seas calm down a little bit. Yeah. They're not quite as bad as they were last night.
Still a bit,
but it's still pretty rocky.
Yeah, it's still doing a little bit of cork bobber in the ocean kind of thing.
Kelly says, I remember your day 48 video. I was waiting for someone to post that they were tired of the food. How are you doing with that? We're eating a lot more off the ship.
Yeah.
than we were.
We like to, whenever we get on a port, we like to get out there and at least find lunch. Yeah. Something different.
So it still is what it is. Yeah. We're also eating more in the main dining room. Yeah. Because the Windjammer is where it just kind of, they're not really rotating. It's the same stuff every day. I mean, they do rotate it a little, but not quite the same.
And the food, it's good food. It's just a matter of, the menu doesn't change a whole lot. Yeah. And that's where it kind of gets boring, and you want something different. So.
And Tracy is asking, have you avoided weight gain with all that food? So I will say, in the first segment, I lost like 6 pounds because I got sick a couple of times in a row. And so, yeah. Mm-hmm. And then I haven't gained it back, although I'm eating way too much sugar and salt right now. Yeah. So I've been hitting the gym pretty regularly. So you were for a while, and then you dropped off, and you are again.
Once the heavy waves kind of started back up the last couple of days, I couldn't do it. I've mainly been doing the rowing machine, which is great for burning calories. Yeah. Working a lot of muscles, but and that again, burning the calories off. So that was one of my main goals to begin with before I get back on the weights, maybe.
Beth Ann is asking if we're doing an excursion in Southampton. We did book the trip to Stonehenge. So that's the excursion that we're going to do in Southampton. I also have a friend that lives in London, and I'm trying to sort out a meetup with him. His name is Steven, and Steve hasn't met him yet. So I got to introduce this to Steve's two together. So how often do you do port, and do they do overnight ports? Very few of the ports that we do are overnight ports. We did do overnight in Mauritius, but the only reason we were able to do that is because they took Madagascar off because there was a cyclone getting ready to hit one side of the island, and it was a tender port. So it was very unlikely.
We would have had gone through a portion of it to get to the island. The rough seas would still be too rough to do tender operations.
So Tracy is saying I'd be enormous with all that food, and I mean, I do know that some people have gained weight on this trip, but it also, again, after a while, there's nothing wrong with the food. It's still well prepared, in my opinion. Not everybody agrees with me on that, but it starts tasting the same. So it's not special, and there's no reason to keep eating, I guess.
Yeah, and some of the leftovers that they mix together is kind of interesting. But
hi, Marilyn. Hi, Susie. Hi, Deborah. Hi, Big Baby. Hi, Donna. Hi, Nicholas. Saying hi to everybody.
So, Gaines, the only secondhand experience I've heard about India was from coworkers on business. How was India for a tourist perspective?
So, the tuk-tuk ride was actually pretty interesting.
Very, very interesting in the tuk-tuks.
And, from an excursion standpoint, I feel very much like, I don't know how to explain it. I don't want to say protected, but they definitely herd the cats, in such a way that we aren't really in places that would be dangerous or very crowded, where pickpockets would be a thing. We don't really get a chance to be put in those situations when we're doing formal excursions. When we're out on our own, we do. But even then, I haven't, in the places where we have gone out on our own, just, grabbing a taxi or going somewhere else.
Hadn't had any issues.
Haven't had any issues, nor have I felt like I was like in the wrong place, kind of thing. So India, of course, was just, oh God, it was so packed. And the time we spent going to the Taj Mahal was we were up at the crack of dawn every morning. We didn't get back until late. And so, and then when we finally got back to the ship, when the Taj Mahal trip was over, all of us were just exhausted. I think we slept.
Kind of like the Machu Picchu trip that we flew into. We didn't get to see Machu Picchu because the railroad locals had blocked the railroad, and because that was a political thing within the country.
Leela's asking how we're enjoying the Africa segment. So other than missing Madagascar, which we're kind of bummed about, we've only done the island so far. So our next stop in Port Elizabeth is going to be the first place where we're actually hitting the mainland. So we've only been on that island so far, and they've been gorgeous. What we've seen so far has just been absolutely amazing.
So, Katie, what do y'all do for fun? Do you get bored?
I don't get bored. I'm working on videos or writing or doing all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, and there's always something going on if you want to do something. They got all kinds of activities around the ship throughout the day.
A lot of them are repeat activities. They do the egg drop competitions all the time, and there's trivia going on at least in 2 different places, like 24 hours a day here. I'm kidding, not 24 hours, but so trivia stuff is always going on.
In the evenings, they usually have at least 1, if not 2 shows in the big theater up front. They canceled it last night because of the roughness of the water.
And the singer wasn't.
Yeah,
the singer
she wasn't feeling good. But also, when a stage is doing this number, it's kind of hard for a performer to be up there and concentrate on what they're doing.
It's Whitney, so she'd have been in really high heels. So
not good.
Are you tired of being on a ship? No. I love it.
Like this.
I could live on a boat. Ship, boat, whatever.
And it's been really nice.
Hi, sweetie.
There's a lot of things that we don't have to worry about. We stay in the same room, and then we get to the next port. We get to go out and see stuff. Come back on the ship. We have an evening. Go back to the next port. And wake up at someplace else. So it's been interesting. Now there are a couple of times we've had several sea days in a row, which we have 3.
3 for this.
3 between where we left Reunion Island and going to South Africa. What's the first one? Port Elizabeth.
Port Elizabeth is the next one.
So we got 3 sea days here, so it's nice. Today the sun was mixed clouds, so I went up and sat by the pool for a little bit, but the temperature's starting to drop now that we're heading south again.
Yeah.
We went past the equator a couple of days ago.
Yes. So it's cooling off.
Yeah, it's cooling off, and it's going to be cooler as we get into South Africa.
Katie's asking if the internet seems that the internet seems to be really good. It's decent. Yes, it is. So Starlink was when we did our 3 5-day back-to-backs, we were on the legacy systems, the VSAT or whatever they were using before.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, that internet was horrible. I could not even do an audio call, a Wi-Fi call back home. It kept cutting out and it was awful. This Starlink is a huge game changer. The invention of this technology and actually putting it to use on ships all over the place they really make it possible for people to work from a ship.
Yeah.
No complaints. Now I will say that it isn't fabulous everywhere. So we had when we were going China and India. So Starlink doesn't have permission to operate in those areas, so it's blocked off. I know that's 100% true for China. I'm not sure. I assume it's that way for India too, but I'm not sure.
That's my guess.
And we had a little issue when we were going around the southern tip of South America. We had a couple of days where unexpectedly the internet wasn't very good, and it probably has to do with satellite coverage in the area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of sparsely populated down in that area.
Yeah. Catherine is saying, I know you have more to see, but what has been your favorite place so far? Do you want to answer first?
Favorite place to see was Antarctica. We didn't actually we couldn't get off the ship because the ship was too big. The regulations, you have to be a vessel with less than 500 on it, 500 passengers.
Yeah, 500 passengers.
Before they'll let them, like the National Geographic has their exploration ships. That's part of the cruise that they'll go down and get on the Antarctica.
Antarctica has been my favorite so far too.
Yeah.
I will say though, India in general was not my favorite place. Are you okay?
We had dinner a little while ago. It's okay.
India was not my favorite place per se, but the Taj Mahal was absolutely just so gorgeous.
Yeah.
And what blows my mind about this is all the pictures that you see of the Taj Mahal are through there's an arch entryway that and so people take pictures through the arch because it perfectly frames the Taj Mahal and all the turrets around it. But when you get up close to it, you can't see the detail. You don't even know it's there from the pictures that you normally see. But this entire building from top to bottom has so much intricate carving.
Yeah.
It is one of the most beautiful buildings I've ever seen in my life, which is kind of fitting, based on what it was used for. Yeah. And yeah, just that was pretty incredible. And I don't know that I'll ever get a chance to go back to India again. So I'm pretty happy that we got that trip didn't get canceled like the one to Machu Picchu.
Yeah. I just want to say thanks, Katie. We appreciate that. Catherine, you have more to see. Yeah, that was the question. Games. When you pulled into Dubai, did you act as a tour guide for the other shipboard tourists?
Nobody was really interested in that.
No, but you gave them pointers.
We did give everybody
going on.
about fun things to do, especially because the time we had in Dubai was really short. I don't know what's going on here, but there. Sorry, I had to mute somebody because I didn't know what they were saying. Anyway, the time we had in Dubai was really short. They were there early in the morning, but all aboard was like 2:30 or 3:30. Yeah. And so all the recent floodings they had in Dubai, I had been talking about how great the metro system. I'm like, you don't need a taxi, you don't need Uber, just buy a metro card and you can get around because that's the truth most of the time. But because of the recent really horrible flooding they had, not all of the stations were actually opened, and they were running less than half of the normal number of trains on the metro system. So wait times are really long, and you might not even be able to get to where you wanted to go, close to where you wanted to go on the metro system. So that was kind of a bummer for everyone. Yeah. I mean, but there were a lot of people who got off in Dubai and were spending an extra week there. So I was able to share my experiences with them and help them out as far as, what to book, where to book, the apps that are easiest and legitimate apps for booking for booking tickets for different places. So so that was kind of nice. And then, of course, we didn't have time to do all that stuff, so I'm looking at all their pictures of the Miracle Garden and Global Village and the Museum of the Future and all the stuff that we didn't get to do when we were there. And the Museum of the Future was not open the last time I was there.
No.
So.
And also, we first hit the UAE in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
And we had an excursion out from there. When we finished that, we were going to Dubai from there and stay at night in a hotel because we still have friends that live in Dubai. And so we went and had, saw them for the evening.
And we were there during work day, so, that was going to be the only time we would get to see them.
Yep.
So do you want to tell that story?
Which part?
Well, let me answer. Glenn is asking.
Do you eat the same thing for breakfast?
Hold on. So, sorry, Catherine is asking, what place are you looking most forward to now?
There's so many on there. Of course, once
England, because I have friends there.
England. I'm going to say the whole Norway, Sweden.
Because of the Northern Lights.
Yeah.
Because of the Northern Lights.
That and just because it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Belgium, not Belgium. The Hague. Is what I've been thinking about.
And so we do have a Pisa trip booked too. So you'll get to see the Leaning Tower.
Yeah. Yep.
Let's see. Do you eat the same thing for breakfast? And what % of people have been on from December? So right now, most of the people who are on the ship right now have been on. They are full world cruisers. So we started out with, I want to say there was
17.
No. The number of world cruisers from the beginning was like around 650, I think.
Yeah.
And right now on the ship we have about a little over 800.
Yeah.
So most of the people that are on the ship right now are in fact full world cruisers. Not everybody, but a large majority of them. And then Abu Dhabi has different feel than Dubai. Same with Sharjah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, they do. They do.
I know games played poorly. I know you've been there for work. But yeah, Sharjah is. That's where people live when they want cheaper rent, because Dubai is outrageously expensive.
Yep.
But it's so far out from most of the places. If you're on the metro, it's kind of okay to get back and forth. But if you're driving, you're stuck in traffic all day, and it's horrible. Abu Dhabi's not as bad. In fact, when we came from Abu Dhabi to Dubai, there was a whole nother highway road that was built in. So because we didn't take I was like, this is not the road I remember taking, because I worked in Abu Dhabi and I lived in Dubai. So there was a whole nother highway, and I had asked the taxi driver about it. So apparently it's fairly new. It's only a couple years old. So we missed all of the traffic that you would normally see. Cindy says Pete and I were watching. Hey,
hi Cindy. Hi Pete.
Hi Cindy. Give Pete. Pete is our puppy dog that we share custody with Cindy, and so that's when she says Pete and her watching. That means the dog is watching too. So give Pete an extra big hug from us, would you? Because we miss him and you.
Yeah, we do. Certainly do. James people say hi Pete. Thanks.
Anyway, okay, so we had gotten a hotel, just a regular, and it was this is another story. So it was one of the few places that was right next to, within walking distance of where my friends live, our friends live.
It's the Hilton family, basically. Right. I've stayed at a lot of them when I was working too, so I got a lot of points built up with them. They're getting the status. So I went through the app, booked a standard king size, nothing extravagant, it wasn't too badly priced to begin with, but it was okay. So when it came time, and it started reminding me about checking in, I could check in online if I wanted to. So as we were heading towards Dubai, I was getting ready to start doing that, and it popped up as our choice for you, and it shows a 4-bedroom family suite.
Which we did not need.
And I didn't want to say check in because I didn't want to get charged extra. So we wanted to make sure, so we didn't check in until we actually got to the hotel. And the nice lady behind the counter said, "No, yeah, that's what you got. 4-bedroom family suite." It was awesome. Huge.
We could have. It's too bad we were only there for the night. We could have had so much. We could have had a big party there.
Could have. 3 extra beds.
Was it? I guess it was.
4-bedroom.
4-bedroom. But the bedrooms, kitchen. It had a kitchen. It also had a room that it didn't have a bed in it, but it was still,
like
an office room.
But it had the wardrobe set up in there too. Wardrobe cabinets. The
There we go.
but yeah, that was, and of course we only had it for like 7 hours, because the first thing we did when we got up the next morning, of course, we went to the Burj Khalifa and did that, and we peeled around some
Yeah.
in the mall.
We went shopping because
Yeah,
there
of
wasn't
course.
really much time to do anything else.
And
Which was really kind of disappointing because we didn't, even though all aboard was 2:30 or 3:30, I don't even remember now. We didn't actually end up leaving until 7:30 because they were waiting for provisions,
yeah,
and they didn't show up until they were way late, and it was 3 full Connexes
resupply.
for resupply. So we could have done so much more with those extra, 5 hours.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it was still nice seeing Dubai.
It was nice seeing
the
our friends. Yeah,
And we will definitely be back there at some point,
yeah, definitely.
because from there we could fly into Madagascar.
Yeah, so that's we're kind of figuring out what we're going to do for the next trip. So we do need to, when we're done with this, we will need to spend some time at home. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be taken care of and handled because we've just been away for so long. But once we do that, I think Dubai's a nice place to go to stop, do some of the touristy things that I never did when I actually lived there, and then a jumping off place to go see Madagascar and Petra that we missed, and the pyramids, which we also missed. So, we'll be spending another month in the area, I think, eventually. Hi, Jen. Let's see. So we told the story of the 4-bedroom suite. And, so the other funny thing was we met up with another couple that we're friends with at the mall. And I had heard, we were in the same store or something. I heard her say that they were getting ready to go back. So I was like, hey, do you want to share a cab back to the port? Because we had not been to the port that morning since we had stayed overnight. Yep. And darn if that wasn't like the most hidden port terminal.
There's a whole bunch of construction going on in that area.
Right.
Streets, infrastructure, a whole lot of stuff. And of course, picking their way through all the little detour lanes.
Right. So we were very glad we shared a cab with them on the way back, because there's no way in hell we would have been able to find the port facility.
No.
Because of the construction and because it was literally just buried behind any obvious place.
Yep.
So that was kind of
all over
lucky.
the place.
Right. And then, so after Dubai, we had a couple of sea days, but mostly everybody just kind of rested because the whole Asia Pacific was just it was a very fast paced segment to go through. We didn't have very many sea days at all. And it was port after port after port, which was nice from a, I guess, timeline perspective, but we were all pretty exhausted after that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Cindy, that you're having trouble with your connection.
Yeah.
I see. She keeps dropping in and out. Hi, Hannah. Thanks, everybody, for joining. If anybody's got any questions for us,
feel free.
or for us personally, or for the cruise, let us know.
Yeah.
We're trying to answer everybody's stuff. So this is kind of the point. When we went, we hit the halfway point. Was that just after Dubai?
Just before.
Was just before Dubai.
Just before Dubai.
And
actually,
so
numbers of day halfway.
Right. So the rough thing is that now that we're on the
downhill side.
the downhill side of this, we're all starting to think, oh, what are we going to do when this cruise is over? So.
And I'm not ready to think about that yet.
Yeah, he won't think about it until the day we get off the ship. But several of our friends are starting to think ahead, set things up for whatever. We know we need to go back, and there's certain personal things we need to take care of when we get back. And then I guess planning our next trip.
Yeah, gotta look for
it. He wants to do a Panama cruise.
Yeah, well, the canal,
Yeah.
That's one of the things I want to do.
What else do you want to do?
I still want to hit the Eastern Med.
Okay.
That we're going to be missing.
Oh.
But who knows when that'll be.
It might be a while before we can do that, though.
It might be a while before it comes down enough. But all good stuff. All good stuff.
Hi, Kathy. Hi, Mimi Time. Welcome. If you guys have any questions for Steve and I personally, or about the Ultimate World Cruise, happy to answer them. I guess I can pull up we have our little calendars. If I can do it. Oh, there you go. Sorry. I'm using magnets to stick things to the wall. So let's see. We have, oh, we can talk about the Seychelles.
Seychelles.
Oh man, the Seychelles were so beautiful. We missed the second location in the Seychelles, so we only got to go to Mahi. Again, another tender port operation that there was just, the weather was too bad, and that was a real shame.
I've got a question from Games. Is there any home food or experiences that you miss yet? Good Tex-Mex food.
Yeah, it's not quite the same here.
No.
I'm trying to
What
think.
other experiences? Of course, seeing family and friends.
Somebody said that they had gone to a Mexican restaurant and had good Mexican food. Was that in Dubai?
I think so. And I'd actually found a little place that wasn't too bad when we were in Sydney.
Okay. Why was I not with you?
Because you decided you didn't want to go back out.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Oh, okay, I remember that.
Yep.
I was tired. Okay, so Mauritius, we had 2 days there, one in Reunion Island. And then we've got our sea days. Next one is Port Elizabeth. So we have a safari book there. It's a day safari. So we don't dock there until I think around 11 a.m.
Yeah.
So we still get to
it's later
sleep
the
in,
morning.
but we're going to be
Back late.
back really late.
Yep.
I'm really excited about that. And then Mossel Bay, we have I think we booked something with Viator for that one. Or did we?
Yes, we did.
Okay. I think we did that, or was that Walvis Bay?
No, it was Walvis Bay.
Okay. So
We
now
don't
we
have
need
anything
to.
for Muscle.
So I think we don't have anything planned for Mossel Bay. And then the first day in Cape Town is, I think that's the day that we're visiting a winery. Anyway, we have 2 days.
Yep.
We have 2 days in Cape Town.
Yep.
So one of those days is another Royal Caribbean escape tour thing.
Yeah, one of the additional ones they threw in.
Right. So we didn't know about these up until maybe a month before the cruise started. But for all of the folks that were doing the full world cruise, they threw in 4, one for each segment, just a special thing. Usually revolving around alcohol.
Yes.
The first one we went to was a winery. This one's going to be a winery. Did we do one for the second segment? I don't remember.
I don't remember one.
And then the last one for segment 4 is going to be in Cork, Ireland, at a
Jameson Factory.
factory.
Jameson Distillery.
Distillery, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's very excited about that. I think we had originally booked a pub tour thing.
Yeah, pub tour or something like that.
And so
When they popped that one up, there was
we'll cancel the other one.
yeah.
So anyway, so on the Cape Town, South Africa, there's a family here who's from South Africa, Ami and Gustav. So Gustav set up a tour because that's
their hometown.
That's their
Yeah,
home, right?
home
So
area,
all the
yeah.
cool stuff that there is to do in his hometown. So he set it up. He's leading one of the groups, and because there was so much interest in basically exploring. Exploring South Africa with him, he managed to talk, I think, either a friend or a family member into leading a second group, and they're going to take us all around and we're going to get to see penguins.
Yes.
Finally,
Penguins.
live penguins that are not in a cage.
Yes. Yes. In the wild.
I'm really excited about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Penguins. And all sorts of other stuff. I could tell you what's in it, but I'd have to look it up on my phone. And
Yeah.
we're doing
Mine
the live,
too.
so can't do that right now. So I'm really excited about that. And then we start the west coast of Africa. So we haven't really booked.
No,
We haven't booked anything for that yet because we're kind of.
the first one, through Viator that we're talking about.
Oh yeah, Walvis
That's
Bay.
the other, Walvis Bay.
Walvis Bay. So, and now I'm kind of confused. There's so much. We went through and so I will say this. I don't know, however, how many of you guys read the article that I wrote for RoyalCaribbeanBlog.com, which is not affiliated with Royal Caribbean, the company. It's just a guy who runs a blog about Royal Caribbean. And he is very supportive of Royal Caribbean, don't get me wrong, but I had collaborated with him before we went on the trip. And so he had published an article that I wrote for him there. And I did another one when we hit the halfway point. And so one of the things that I talked about was that we've been really kind of disappointed in the Royal Caribbean excursions, because there's a whole lot of sitting around in buses and not a whole lot of actually getting to get out of the buses and see things.
Yeah.
So because we were on kind of a tight budget for booking excursions, we booked all of the really cheap ones. And so that's part of the problem. So not all of Royal Caribbean.
Yeah. Trying to be frugal on that
Yeah.
has not been what's the word?
It has not been
Has not been favorable in our.
yeah. However you want to look
I don't know. Never mind.
at it.
We were not impressed.
Yeah. So anything that has panoramic in the title for the excursion generally means you're going to be on a bus for 2 to 4 hours,
Yep.
and you won't get to get off the bus to take pictures, and it will just drive by things that you want to
Here's
see.
that.
Yeah.
Here's this. Look over here. You got that.
There's a castle over there,
Behind those trees. Yeah.
right? So you don't get to see anything.
No.
So we went through about, I think, 4 days ago and went through all of the excursions we had booked for the rest of the trip and canceled everything that said panoramic.
Yeah.
And we're still at the point where there's a few others that don't necessarily say panoramic, but from the title it sounds like they might be really similar to that. So we're gonna go and maybe cancel those too. So so Catherine says, good tip on the panoramic. We'll remember that for
Yeah.
future excursions. And I will say, some of the panoramics you do get out at like 1 or 2 places.
Yeah.
But you don't get to get out and see all of the things that are listed in there because you're just driving by them. So, yeah.
And games. Other than Morocco and hunting for dinosaurs in the Congo, what are the places you're looking forward to seeing on the west coast of Africa? I don't know. You know, don't know exactly what it's going to be like in those areas.
We did book another excursion with another one of the passengers. So a lot of the passengers who have travel agent kind of backgrounds or know people in that industry have been putting together group tours, and we booked one for, was it Namibia?
I think so.
Right, and that that tour is fairly expensive, and I can't remember what's on the itinerary right now, but I do believe it was Namibia, and we're pretty excited about that one too.
Yeah, and the whole thing about it, you know, it's someplace I've never been. I never would have considered traveling to these places probably, and that's what's going to make it so neat. Is, you know, see it with other people. You know, the people who are on the ship, the original. Full world cruisers. It's just a bunch of adventurers, you know, from whatever level they can do. You know, even if they're they're barely moving around, they still want to get out and see stuff.
Yeah.
That desire for adventure is still there. And then of course we got the younger people that are, you know, they want to do so much stuff too.
I will say that the last couple of tours that we've done that were not Royal Caribbean, there's like a lot of the folks are getting jaded. We've seen so many temples and shrines and things like that. So the Hindu temples, architecturally, they're all very similar. The art in itself is very different, but architecturally and, you know, looking at the big picture, they look similar. Same thing with the Shinto temples. So yeah, they're getting a little jaded. We drove by one at one point. I could hear people behind us saying, "Oh, look, another temple." I still think they're all beautiful. I still want to get all the pictures of them, and I don't care if they look the same. Exactly, but I can also see how it might be frustrating for some folks to see the same things over and over again. Hi, Jen. Thanks for joining. So we're talking about the Ultimate World Cruise, and Steve and I, are you pulling it out?
It's the big calendar.
Oh, the big calendar.
Yeah.
Okay.
That shows all the stuff, places we're going,
So
and
let's
the
see, where
dates.
no, it was Angola. It was not,
right.
Namibia. It's Angola, because Luanda was the location. And I think Walvis Bay might have been the Viator one. And so we don't have any, that's in Namibia. We don't have anything planned for Literates yet. I don't think we've found anything. And then after that, we've got Ghana, Ivory Coast, Senegal. I heard somebody talking, I think Jason was talking earlier about Dakar, Senegal. I need to find out what they're doing, because that sounded interesting.
Yep.
And then, so we'll be catching up with the original itinerary on the 19th of June. And then we have a stop in Greece. In the original itinerary, we had like 3 or 4 stops in Greece. Now we're down to 1, and it's not Santorini, it's Corfu. But we also have another friend group who had put tours together. Their brother had bought into 4 different tours, and he decided he was not going to do them for some reason. Something came up and couldn't do them, so his sister was here selling his tickets to these, and they're all very nice, super pricey excursions. So we bought 3 out of the 4, and then she found somebody else to buy his 4th one, so he got paid back for tours he wasn't going to be able to take. There's a lot of that happening too. So somebody gets sick at the last minute and can't go on an excursion, so there's like 8 different WhatsApp or Facebook groups where everybody's like, hey, I've got 2 tickets, 2 slots available for this tour, this is the cost. And sometimes they're selling them at a discount, and some of them it's face value, please. But in most cases it works out. There's been a couple where they don't get the slots filled, but for the most part somebody takes them up on the offer. So hi Joe Ruby, and let's see, we got a question over. Lily says, maybe you mentioned earlier in the live, but are you doing independent journeys for this segment? No. So we don't have any independent journeys planned or for the past or the future.
It'd be nice to some of our friends who've gone on their own.
I'm super jealous of the safari.
yeah. But there again, we're trying to keep from spending too much. That's that frugal part. Unfortunately, with the way that some of the excursions were through Royal Panoramic. Yeah. And those were for us, that just wasn't worth it. No matter how inexpensive they were. We had a 2-hour bus ride to nowhere one day, and we drove by the airport. We drove by the Navy base, and that was about it. Anyway,
that was like the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah,
with
that was
we're
it.
like, now we're not doing any of these anymore. So Glenn is asking, do you have to do a lot of tipping? So the tipping, the standard gratuities were included in our base price. So the answer to your question is no. But well, and that's different for the spa. So there's the spa, and I think the specialty dining. So there's additional gratuities that are added onto that you don't have the option of turning them off. If you go to the specialty dining or to the spa services, that 18% is automatically added on, and you can't take it off. That being said, we do tip extra for the room stewards and the wait staff in the dining room.
Yeah.
So we don't have to, but we do.
Yeah, they're good people. You take care of us really well.
Not to be grim, but what's the Ebola situation on the west coast of Africa right now? I don't know. I have not heard anything about it. I know there were some cases that came up before we left on the trip, but what's happened there with it, I don't know. From what I understand, most of those are in fairly remote areas, and I know we won't be in those areas. So there's no vaccine for it, so I guess there's not much we can do about it.
Not really.
How does your bank keep up with all the places you go to? Hopefully that's an okay question to ask. So we've got a Royal Caribbean credit card, and we had a conversation with them before we left. We explained to them that we were doing the world cruise, and that card would only be used for Royal Caribbean stuff. But there's an alert set up. I mean, all credit cards have this now too. There's a way to set up an alert, and I think my alert is anything over $1 I get an email for. So so far I haven't had any issues. You're gonna need to scoot over because you're not in the shot anymore.
Hey, I'm back. Had to take my little sweatshirt off. It's getting warm.
It is. So far we haven't had any problem, and I'm actually kind of surprised by that, because I used to have a different the Royal Caribbean card is through Bank of America. And I used to have another Bank of America card that I turned off like a year ago, but every time I would use that in another state, even within the United States. If it wasn't where I lived, it would get flagged and the purchase would get shut down, and I would literally have to call them and say, "Can you please turn my card back on?" Yeah, everybody should do that. Alert with all of their cards. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that I have all of them set for $1. I think I have an American Express that the limit on that one I think is $25. Anything over $25. But yeah, because of course when people get a hold of your credit card number, however they do it, they do a test one, and sorry. So they do a test run where it's, it could be $1 or $2 just to see if it goes through. And then if it does and it doesn't flag an alert, then they start charging a lot of money on your card. And I've actually had that happen. I had I don't remember which credit card company it was, but I saw a charge go through for $2 once. And I was like, I immediately called the bank and said, I don't know what this is, but I know I didn't buy anything for $2. And they just shut the card down. They looked at it and they could tell that it was a fraudulent thing. So they shut down that card and sent me a new one that week. Luckily, I was in the United States. Have you done an excursion that you loved? Yes. So, Messica, we were just talking early. Sorry. And somebody else says, I work in cybersecurity and have that set for everything. Good, Denise. I agree. We should check that.
Oh, yeah.
So Messica, have you done an excursion that you loved? So the Taj Mahal was the one that we were talking about earlier. It was just absolutely amazing.
I really enjoyed the trip we didn't make to
Machu
Picchu.
Oh.
We ended up we flew into Cusco, where we stayed in the hotels. We were going to go from there up and see Machu Picchu and then come back. Well, that didn't happen because of the strike that was going on. So Royal did a quick pivot and had some things set up in town for us in Cusco, and it's a neat little city. Neat little city. Of course, we're staying over in the older part of town. We got to see a lot of the old architecture that was there. So that was pretty neat. I enjoyed that. What we got?
Oh, Lindy's here. Hi.
Hi, Lindy.
We're back home for June and July. Glad to catch you live. Rejoining you guys in Copenhagen.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Lindy and Bill, I'm glad to see you, Lindy. So for the rest of you guys, Lindy and Bill were our table mates for a while and our friends, and we are really looking forward to having them back in Copenhagen. They're a really sweet couple. So Messica, your question. So you love the Cusco one. I love the Cusco one was rough for a lot of other people just because of the altitude. So that was another one that kind of tired people out. And also because we did that, we didn't get to spend any time in Lima. Well, we could have, but again, because we were so exhausted when we got back.
Yeah, so we met back up with the ship in Lima, and they were only there for 1 day or 2 days. They were there for 2 days. So we got back on the second day, and they said, okay, there's a thing going on over here that Royal's put together and blah, blah, this. And we would have had 30 minutes basically turn around to drive 2 hours.
Yeah, drive 2 hours.
In a bus for, this evening entertainment. And I would love to have seen it, but we just got off a plane for like hour and a half, 2 hours.
And everybody who did go raved about it for the next week. They were talking about how incredible it was. And it was, so I had a little FOMO afterwards, but it was still, I was so exhausted. Let's see, are there any in the future? So
yes,
that we have been. So Madagascar, I'm not putting on that list because we didn't get to go there. But we were talking earlier about spending some extra time in Dubai because a lot of stuff is like the Museum of the Future, and then there are a lot of places that I just never did when I lived there because nobody ever does the touristy things when you live in a place, right? French Polynesia, for sure.
Very beautiful, very beautiful.
That was, I don't feel like we had nearly enough time there. Actually, let me look at this, because there's like so many places.
I'll say one thing that we'd like to do. We talked about Antarctica. We'd like to take a cruise on one of those.
One of the expedition ships.
One of the expedition ships.
So we can actually
step on Antarctica.
Yeah.
But it was just the beauty and the quietness of being there was just amazing.
Hawaii is another one I could easily spend a week at.
Oh
But we can do that anytime. Australia. So
Yeah.
I really, so
I would like to.
we didn't get to see the Great Barrier Reef
No,
either.
we
That was
didn't.
not one of the included excursions.
No.
And the price for doing those was in the thousands of dollars
Yeah.
range. And there were weather issues. So, like, even the people who did them didn't get the best view of the Great Barrier Reef for whatever reason.
And there were we in Sydney for 2? Yeah, we're Sydney 2 days
Yeah.
overnight. Some people did they do it from there, or they did it from?
I think
Brisbane?
they did, yeah.
Was it Brisbane?
Bali.
Oh, yeah.
I could definitely spend a week in Bali.
But for me, Australia, I'd just love to go to Australia and spend some time.
Oh, and so here's one. Have you done an excursion? I think we answered that one. So mine was, the excursion that I loved was Taj Mahal, and you said the Cusco one.
Yeah.
So, sorry, there was something else here. Oh, Subic Bay. So that was one of the most surprising ones to me, because I was expecting an old rundown Navy base that just looks like garbage.
Yeah. Now I'm not sure if y'all are familiar, but several years back, the U.S. military pulled all the personnel out and turned the base back over to the Philippine government. And
apparently in a short time frame.
Yeah.
Because
now,
it wasn't.
They've done this in other countries, and it's unfortunate because it just goes downhill. No one's there.
No one knows how to run it.
No one knows how to run it.
Or
keep
do
it
the
up
maintenance
running.
or whatever.
But the one at Subic Bay, and a whole bunch of the people who worked there volunteered after the U.S. pulled out of it. They went back in, and they were maintaining the systems. Everybody that worked on that base basically was there. And there was a huge memorial built for them.
Yes.
To say thank you.
Hundreds, if not thousands, of people who, on a volunteer basis for weeks or months, to keep things running so that they could, and it shows. You can see that because
there's a lot of things that are being utilized, which is good. A lot of that infrastructure. So.
Yeah, and contrasting that with the other place we were at in the Philippines, which was Manila. I don't even know what to say about Manila, because there's the Mall of Asia, which they dumped us at the end of the day, is very poorly designed, but very obviously very expensive. A lot of money put into that, very high-end shops, and very, I don't know, glitzy, over the top, right? And so crowded, like more crowded than any other mall I've ever seen in my life. And that's saying something. But everything outside of that mall was just abject poverty, and it made me really sad.
Yeah.
That there was so much money being pushed into certain areas that's clearly not doing anything for the citizens, and that made me really sad.
And wasn't that our 2-hour bus ride to nowhere?
No, we stopped. Which one, in Manila? No, because we did the fort and the church.
That's right.
Right. So we did an actual excursion where we got to see some things, but yeah, just abject poverty everywhere.
We drove past the venue where the Thriller in Manila had taken place.
We did.
With Muhammad Ali. I can't remember who he fought then. Anyway.
Foreman?
I don't remember.
I don't know.
It could be. I don't remember who his opponent was at that point.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So we are just over an hour.
Yep.
So I think I have a game to play tonight. I think
Yeah, you do.
we're doing nerd games tonight. So
yes, you are.
I'm not sure what's going on there. So live will end in 1 minute. Okay.
Ooh.
Hold on. Okay, I verified that I'm a human being for TikTok, so we're still going. But
we need to say goodbye.
We do need to say goodbye because we have other stuff to do this evening.
We are so glad that all of y'all have been here.
Yeah, this has just been amazing.
Yeah,
Thanks everybody for tuning in and listening to us and asking questions. This has been really nice.
It's neat to contact and
Pete says
talk to
London
people
hugs.
back in the States or wherever you are in the world.
Yep.
It's really great.
And
modern technology.
Now that we're not doing the Asian segment anymore, and we have a little bit more downtime, we should be able to get back on a schedule at least weekly, if not even maybe a little more than that. So
thanks, Karen. Excuse me, Catherine. Thanks, Catherine.
Thanks, Catherine. Have a good night, or have a good day, everybody in the U.S., and a good night, everyone else.
That's it. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Love you. Mean it. Yep. Cancel. Oh, no. I wanted. Sorry. Sorry.